from the book, my dude sounds like a waste man. Straight up waste man. Like, yeah, waste man. No respect. None. What's going on? No, don't take yourself off the market. If the person that's purchasing you is not even going to pay the price, you're on HP. Do not marry my brother until you hear from God. Like the sister said that, and you know she was not saying that out of malice. Like, I have to hold back the tears when I'm saying it, because yeah, I just imagine if that was my little sister, not even my little sister, my sister, my people I love, that they broke down to that point where they are begging you to tell me like who I should become so that I can be with you, and this person is not worth. Stay tuned for the review on Toke Makinwas book On Becoming.
I know the dengue, I know the post, eh. My baby give me biscuit, I want sugar. The things you do me, but Joe Barrow go
Yes, as I said from the beginning, I said I still think there's going to be some nuggets to pull out of this woman's story. It's a true story, and come on, you learn from people's experiences. So I have quite a few points, which I'm just going to share with you all that I learned from the book. Please also share your points, because my learning points could be revelation to you, and your learning points could be a revelation to me. So my first learning point from the book would be, listen to the signs and do not commit. So we all know what happened in this book. Let me even just be opening my Kindle so I can be quoting for you guys. As in, okay, so why do I say that? So first of all, we have her sister tell her. Okay, even let's just go right back to the beginning. So this woman is with this dude, and I think it's about 4 months in, she finds out the dude's messing up or misbehaving or whatever. I think there was quite a few different incidents. So one in the club, one she just finds out, through her friend. I think that was the first one, through the friend who said, they were having a conversation and the person mentioned Marjay and this, that, that. Okay, first of all, don't commit. Like, if you had already committed then, okay, which she did, it's still early stages. Keep it moving, keep it lifting, keep it moving. But then when you have family, like, and I'm sure, I don't really know the dynamics between the family, but if the sister can come to you and say, first of all, I was expecting to see you on the holiday, but he came with Erica. So wait, he come with another chick on the holiday you were expected to come to just after his parents died. Yeah. Even the sister is confused. Like, I ain't investing. I don't know which girl, which chick is which, yeah. So the sister, so Erica is obviously not the only person in the picture, and oh my gosh, and then she says, do not marry my brother until you hear from God. Like, the sister said that, and she was not saying that out of malice. Like, she was not saying that out of malice. Like, yeah, you just know she was not saying that out of malice. So I'm like, guys, listen to the signs. Like, if you see things, listen. So another one, the mother is praying for you, and she prays that you will get your own husband. These things are like blows, like blows, like blows, like blows. Like, she's praying that you will find your own husband. So obviously, like, if a guy, and this is my thing, if there's a guy in the picture that maybe you like, you want to be with or whatever, if he is playing around, my guy is not ready to be married. So you attaching yourself to him and holding him is not going to make him get married. So it's better that you go and get along on with your married life, and by God's grace, one day your paths will meet again, and y'all can get married, and he will be ready, you will be in a good place, and y'all could get married. Don't commit your life into someone's hands who is clearly not ready, clearly not wanting to be in a relationship, or wants to be in a relationship but wants to mess about. Like, decide where you are. if you're someone that wants to get married, that's not the person that you want to be with. You know, if you're someone that wants to be committed to someone, you do not want to commit to someone that wants to commit to A, B, C, D, and up to Z. Like, what the heck? Like, what's going on? No, don't take yourself off the market. If the person that's purchasing you is not even going to pay the price, you're on HP. Oh my gosh. So yeah, that's point number one. Yeah, because you see, she says that she's like, she saw all of these things, which is the scary bit, and I've seen it, and she's prayed for all of these, you know, prayed for signs, seen things, heard things, she's taken notice of it, and she said, I just prayed them away. Like, I prayed for them, prayed all these things away. So that's why that's my point number one. Like, listen to the signs, like, and do not commit. Do not commit. Do not give yourself over to someone that is not ready to receive you. Like, honestly, if they ain't ready to pay the price, which is to be single and be solely with you, no, they ain't worth it. Like, they are not worth it. So don't waste your time. Value yourself and do not waste your time. Point number two, and I think this is a really big reason why some people do not move on, or they just stay in the situation they're in, which is face your fears and move on. Like, she sees the guy is messing up, then the guy writes a 6-page letter, and what she fell in love with or what she became attached to was the effort that he made to bring her back, you know, and probably a mistake a lot, you know, because maybe we're so tied up in this situation, we're so into it that we want it to be okay. So the effort of writing that 6-page letter made her forget the truth and be like, cool, we can get back together. And yeah, like, face the truth, like, face it. And facing the truth may be you saying, this guy's a cheater, yeah, I know, and he may never change, but I'm okay with that. If that's your truth, then cool, but don't ignore the truth. Don't ignore what is there, because you're gonna have to deal with it, you know, and that's the thing, you're gonna have to deal with it. So yeah, face the truth and move on. So yeah, I just felt she needs to keep it moving in this one. He was very smart. I can imagine, very persuasive. And when you're in a place where really all you want is this love to really work out, anything he does is just really gonna convince you and make you say, yeah, that's it. This is it. This is yeah. Okay, my third learning point. Okay, each time you go back, you break your character. And I've been there and I've seen people there, like, this thing breaks your character. I think you're giving over your life, and literally you get to that place where you're giving over your life and you want to just be, you are basically giving it over. You're not even reasoning anymore. You're not, you know, you're just giving it over. And she made that so clear, like, too many times. I think for me, her lowest point after going back is where she said she organised a lovely trip in the hotel and this, that, the other, and she begged the guy. She got on her knees and she begged him. She said she begged him with tears in her eyes. And I have to read it properly so that you can really understand what I'm saying. And she said, with tears in my eyes and desperate to save my home, I was willing to learn, to become like her if that was what he wanted. If it was the sex, I asked him to teach me her moves. If it was the character, I wanted to know, so I could become what he saw in her. I was drained. I had no pride in that moment. I begged him to give us a chance. That broke my heart. Like, for me, if my sisters, my friends, like, if I heard they were doing that to someone that clearly does not value them, I would just want to cry. As in, reading it just broke my heart. Reading it just broke my heart. But I think that's the worst thing, because if you really want to be loved by this person, you kind of want to know what grabs his attention. And I think when they cheat and they're with someone else, worst situation to be in, but you find out they cheat or they're with someone else, you want to know what caused you to cheat. What is it that I don't have that they have? You know, and she gets to a place where, and it's each time she went back. It's not the first time. First time is like, cool, we wrote a letter, fine, okay, we're gonna get back together. It got to a point where she's like, okay, I will ignore that the other person's not here, and I will just be with him, and we will be okay. You know, I will just enjoy him when I have him. You know, every time a compromise. Another one is he now uses, you're the wife, she's the girlfriend, like act like a wife. She went and spent the rest of the evening with this dude, and she met the dude by accident with this chick. And you just see each time compromise, breaking. He's just breaking her. And then she just, for me, she just mentioned it so many times, to the point she's like, I have no confidence left. I have nothing. I don't even know who I am anymore. And that's what happens, because she's trying to become something else, all because of this guy. And the worst thing, this guy does not value her. So my advice, if any of you are in this situation, or not even this situation, but anything where the guy you're with does not value you, do not allow your character to be scraped and stretched and pulled by people that are not even worth your time. Like, they're not worth your time. They're not worth a piece of your life, if that makes sense. As in, they're just not worth it. Like, do not pull and just allow someone to do that to you. Like, so it's heartbreaking. Like, as in, I have to hold back the tears when I'm saying it, because yeah, I just imagine if that was my little sister, not even my little sister, my sister, my you know, people I love, that they broke down to that point where they are begging you to tell me like who I should become so that I can be with you, and this person is not worth being with. As in, they're not worth being with. And you're breaking your back to be what they want you to be. Like, that's heartbreaking to me. Like, that is so heartbreaking to me. So that's why I say, each time you go back to this person, you are breaking your character. And this is very different from being married. This is single life. Like, as in, this is before you make that commitment. And yes, make that commitment to the right person. You may practice those things before you get married, but make it to the right person. Make it to the right person, not to some waste guy. Like, sorry, from the book, my dude sounds like a waste man. Straight up waste man. Like, yeah, waste man. No respect, none. Sorry guys, the emotion is just real. Point number 4. If you are in this situation, my learning from the book. Okay, you are too emotional to make the right decisions. I just felt she got to a point that she demonstrated so well that all her reasoning was just warped. It was so warped. All her reasoning had to point to them being together. So, as she said, I saw all these things, but I prayed them away, you know. I prayed them away. I have more quotes. You know, they should bring things like, I've heard in marriage, the first year's a bit, you know, teething problems, but by the third and fourth, come on, you're being with the dude for over 10 years, you're telling me teething problems in the first year of marriage because something changes in marriage. Like, guys, get with the program. Like, get with the program. You know, but because her reasoning, because she's so emotional and everything has to point to them being together, her reasoning was just warped. Like, and that's my advice. remember, you're just too emotional to make the right decision. So listen to what people are saying. And not everyone's advice is going to be right. But you need to get to a place where you're sober enough to make sure you're right in making the right decisions. So at this point, you're just too emotional to make the right decision. And that's all I could see, that her reasoning was just so warped, and everything had to point to them being together, had to point to them. Because to me, the guy exhibited no evidence that they were going to get married. I mean, he was changing. Like, maybe they would be good for a few months or whatever, but I don't know. For me, 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, but like, oh, how many times? You can't that's a rocky foundation. Like, that is not a foundation to get married. Like, it's just not a foundation to get married. And honestly, the reasoning, oh, maybe when we get married, we will, all of these things will change. That's deception. That's just deception. Like, deception. If your guy is sleeping around and watching chicks before you get married, the dude's gonna sleep around and watch chicks when you get married. And you know what? It's gonna hurt you 10 times worse when you're married. That's what changes. Because then you said, I'm taking that step to give you me. That's what changes. And that's why it will hurt 10 times worse. So, no, there's habits you're going to practice together. Yes, there's things you're going to do together that will change. But certain deep, innate characteristics, gosh, they're going to be hard to change. They're going to be hard to change. So don't watch and think, yeah, don't worry, when we get married, this will change. Don't worry, when we get, deception, don't deceive yourselves. Do not. That's what I would say. Do not. But you have to see that, like, solid evidence beforehand that this dude's going to change. And through the book, and it could just be the way it was written or whatever, but I just couldn't see any evidence that made me feel like he's going to change, he's going to be different. You're talking about, she said, this is the 3rd time, you're at your wedding and you're there worried if this dude's going to show up, because this is the 3rd time. You're talking about, they did introduction and you found out that he told his parents on the day of the introduction. The guy was not just, I'm sorry, but, and I'm sure she probably reads this book back and forth, this guy was just taking me for an idiot. Like, this dude's taking me for an idiot. If, like, I found out my husband decided to tell his family on the day that we were getting married, I'd be very concerned. Like, I'd be very concerned. Like, what does that even mean? I don't get it. No, I don't get it. Like, you haven't told your parents. Like, you talk to your parents and you have not told your parents that we're getting married, or you have someone in your, like, that's confusing. That's just so confusing to me. And so for me, I just did not see any evidence for them to get married. So that's why I say, at that time, you're too emotional. And it's true, everything you're doing, you want it to point back to you being together. So you reason it out. You always reason it out. You're too emotional in that time. During this process, you're too emotional. You have to get to a sober place to get yourself together and make correct, solid decisions. Ugh, it's a lot. It's a lot. Relationships aren't easy. It's a lot. And my point number 5, such an unhealthy love will change the agenda. So you fall in love, to be together forever, romantic walks down the park, all that dreamy, lovely, good stuff, we're wonderful together, whatever. And I think this is very common when cheating comes into the picture, but the agenda changes. Like, and she said it, it became a game for her, or not a game, but it became a situation for her where she felt she had to change into this person so he would love her. She was just living to be with this dude. Like, everything, she's lost her confidence, she's lost who she is, just to be with this dude. Like, that became her agenda. So she wrote, slowly I had become a shadow of the confident girl I used to be. I lived in constant fear of losing Marjay. That became her agenda, to keep this guy by all means necessary. She mentions that she like she couldn't live without this guy. She got to a point where she could not live without this guy. It's unhealthy. Like I personally would not call that love. But let me not even say that, because but I feel like it's such an unhealthy love. Like where it's abusing you, it's unhealthy. It's unhealthy. And you have to realize it. Where it's come to a place where you are really getting damaged for this love, which is, or this relationship, which is not totally necessary for you to have, then you kind of lost it. You have to think, why is this, what, the agenda will change. What you've gone in it for will change. And as I said, I see it more in relationships where cheating has been introduced, like, because you it's like you're now fighting a new game. Like, it's not you're trying to win him over all the time. Somebody you won over before the relationship, you know, you got into the relationship, he met you. You did not meet him. He met you. You won him over already. And you know, so if the guy wants to go play elsewhere, that means he's not ready. It's not you. He's not ready, you know? So I feel like, yeah, the agenda changes, and it's clear. She just kept saying it. She said another point she mentions is she says, all those years I had been working hard to create a version of me Marjay would love. Like the agenda changed. That wasn't the beginning agenda. That's not why they got together. That's not what it was all about in the beginning. But all through going through the whole situation, the agenda changed. It was just about keeping this guy in the picture. That's for her. It was living with this guy. It was being with this guy. And I feel like that's fueled her getting married. That having to see it work, that fueled her to ignore. As I said, such an unhealthy love changes the agenda of the relationship. It changes the agenda of the relationship. And you have to know when it's exit strategy. Like, even now, like, look at your relationship and think about it. Like, ask yourselves, like, don't be scared to ask yourself. As we said, one of my learning points is face the truth. Because ask yourself, like, why are we together? Because those are questions you're gonna ask. You're gonna get. And unfortunately, if the reason why you got into it gets fulfilled, are you gonna stay? So, you know, are you gonna stay? Obviously, this is okay, get him to love you, but love you by what means? You know, love you by what means? He's got kid already, kid with another chick now. Like, what is unhealthy? Is not a good foundation. Like, it's just not gonna be. I just can't see it being merry. Like, on what circumstance? Yeah, I just can't see it being merry. So, okay. Point number 6, learning point number 6 is our understanding of love can really affect how we respond to relationships. You recall when she so this is how she met the guy. He helped her to a taxi because, poor girl, she went to the club. The guy, her ex-boyfriend, is cheating on her. Well, cheating-ish, because in a way they weren't together at that moment in time or whatever. But anyway, and she was just in tears, and he helped her to a cab and whatever, got her home, and being polite guy, they're texting. And she mentions, and that there for me would be the worrying part, because you just broke up with someone and then she's already so mesmerized with this dude that they've just been texting for however long, and she's already imagining, like, oh, ooh, who could this dude be? Who could this dude be? What could he be? You know, what's this? What's that? And you're thinking, like, love, like, give yourself time to mourn, like, give yourself time, give yourself room to kind of get over what's just happened with the other dude you were with. But it was like, yeah, my broken heart was mended already. Like, you've just been exchanging texts, for goodness sake. And you can see, and you part of me, because I've seen that, and I think because we see a lot of people in that situation where we're just yearning to be loved, and as we get to an age, it's like the love we're looking for must be in a guy. you know, that is a big thing. The love we're looking for must be in a guy. So you want to be you want to grab their attention because you want them to love you, and then you're already dreaming of the happy ever after. Before anything's ever happened, the guy can just say one word and you're reading into it, and it's like, oh my god, this is what he said, and you've created this big picture. And unfortunately, sometimes I think that's just the beginning of mess. Yes, the beginning of a problem. And I wonder, like, and I say our understanding of love, because when you understand what love is, like, certain things don't matter. I always say to people, when they're ready to get married, we can have like a list of the great things you want in a guy and a girl, and can reel it out. But I always say, when you're ready to get married, it's like only the necessary things stand out. Just the things that you know are core, that have to be there, is the ones that stand out. And when you find that guy with those necessary things, it's like you just know there's no time to waste, kind of thing. And I think that's a big thing, like her understanding of love. And you kind of wonder, and she did put the question out there in the beginning of the book, like, does where we come from form who we are? And I feel like it does. Really feel like it does affect us. I know my understanding of love, or my understanding of marriage, I think my understanding of love really came from having a relationship with God, you know, and learning, if I say love me, because I still struggle slightly with certain areas, but yeah, just the love of God, like his love, how that looks, is just so, yeah, it just gives you a better understanding. And I think all our background does affect our view. Our background really affects our view, because I had a very different view coming from a single parent home to people that have both of their parents that they see that are all lovey-dovey and things like that. Like, they aspire to that, whereas I'm coming from a home where that's not what's around me, that's not what's in my viewpoint. So, you know, in a way, it's a weird way, where I know I had cousins that had both parents, but I had a lot of friends that didn't have both parents, and a big part of me felt it was very normal to just have one parent. And that shaped my viewpoint. That shaped my viewpoint of having a relationship. That shaped my viewpoint of what a relationship should look like. You know, I did think, yeah, you can get married and walk out of it anytime you like. Like, marriage was not for life. You know, it shapes your viewpoint. It really shapes. It shapes how you're going to approach your relationship, you know. If you're really broken and you think the love that you need is from a person, and that's the only love you need, how you approach and you hold on to a guy in your life is really going to mess you up, you know. And just basic things your parents tell you about relationships, marriage, it shapes what you think, you know. And I think sometimes you have to sit back and actually review your thought process and what your foundation is of your thought process, and what it should be, what should it look like, because it's really important. It really, really is important. And then my last learning point, okay, I guess not my last learning, second to last learning point, I said, it's your life, don't waste your time. I believe this didn't have to take her 14 years to realize. 40 years of her life, and yes, it was on and off, but it was still 14 years. I feel like and unfortunately, I think it was part of the most amazing part of your life, like from your late teens to over your 30s. Like, do you know how much happens in that period of time, or how much can happen, you know, in that period of time? The journeys you could have had, the experiences you could have had, that she may have missed out on just because she was attached to a guy that really didn't have her best interest at heart. And I think it's so important for you, even if you're older, it doesn't even matter, like, just to take a hold of your life and actually just don't give it over. Don't give it over to someone that doesn't value you. Don't give it over to someone that has no respect for you, because it's not worth it. Yes, you can love someone, but don't let it stop you from living the life you need to be living in order to enjoy life. Like, because you just can't get those years back. It's like, she actually can't get those years back. She actually can't get those years back. And that's what you have to remember. Like, don't waste your time. Don't waste your time with any riffraffs. Like, don't waste your time. Like, don't waste your time, please, guys. Like, no, don't waste your time. Like, honestly, my advice for people getting in relationships is don't get in a relationship until you're ready to get married. Like, I don't know. That's my advice, because I just feel like that's what relationships are for. Like, relationship, like, your end goal in a way should be to get married, because you see yourselves committing to one another and being together forever, you know, not just because that's what you do. Like, because yes, it is normal to have a relationship, you know, you have your aunties and your uncles, oh, who's in the picture, who's this and who's that. But me, I don't like that. I don't like that. I like the sister did. Like, she was getting really cold towards Toke when she kept seeing her, because why do you want to invest time into getting to know someone and then the next day there's someone else? Like, how many people am I going to waste my time investing in for no reason? Like, I don't have that. Like, I don't have time for that. And people that know me know, and anyone that's watching this and they know, like, that's why I'm so inner. Like, when I see you with a guy, that's why I'm inner. I'm like, bring the guy, because I want to know, like, and I will tell you in 2 minutes where is this one going. I will ask you questions, you know, because I'm inner like that, because I value it. I value your time, and I want you to value your time, because whatever. I think there's a lot of things that we say we have to learn in a relationship that we don't. Like, you don't. Like, you don't. There's so many things you will learn about a person if you're very good friends with them. So, but anyway, that's my own advice. Because I just take a hold of your life, which was the main point. Like, it's your life, take a hold of it, and do not waste your time. Do not attach yourself to riffraff, to waste men, to people that do not value you. Like, just do not bother. It's not worth it. Life is too short. Go enjoy yourself. Like, enjoy yourself. It's a new year. Be determined to make your new year count. Like, be determined to make your new year amazing. Like, it's a must. And my last piece of advice, my learning point from this book, I think one of the biggest things is because dealing with someone that is in this situation, like, I think because you kind of wonder the friends around her and maybe what they said and what they did. You know, you had one that was like, well, if you're going to continue to date this guy, you need to get out of my house. Like, that's real. That's a real friend. Like, that's real. But the reality is, it didn't stop her. Maybe because she still had another option to live, and maybe she had to go on the street or whatever. Maybe she might think, wow, like, it might have hit her, and she might have thought, wow, like, this girl is serious, that she knows I'm homeless and she's kicked me out because of this dude. Like, that must be real. So, but to really deal with it, it didn't stop her in this situation, and unfortunately, I don't think it will stop a lot of people. You have to allow them to get to their own realization. You have to allow them to get to a point where they see that this is a problem. Unfortunately for Toke, yes, 14 years later, when the other girl that she clearly knew about is now 9 months pregnant, that's when she was like, no. That was for her the last straw, the last, what do they say, the straw that broke the camel's back. Like, that was the last for her. That was her realization. And I felt that in the book. Like, she broke down, she knew, but she knew, no, this is the last time. And I feel like it was a perfect section in the book, a perfect section of her life to write that book. Because it's true, it's a beginning of a new stage for her by God's grace. It's a beginning of a new journey for her by God's grace. And I feel like someone that's in that situation, you have to let them get to that point where they realize. And what do you do? I wouldn't support them on what they're doing, but I would be there if anything was to mess up. I'll be there for the good, and I'll be there if anything was to, you know, when it, unfortunately, because he was, for me, too much evidence, everyone just knew it's going to fall apart. Like, a real something would have to happen. Like, the guy would need to meet Jesus. Like, straight up, the guy would need to meet Jesus before there is a real change in his heart. Like, a real change in his heart, because that's what it's about. Like, yeah, the heart needs dealing with, because for me, there's no conscience. You do not have a conscience. If you can be doing that, if you can, well, that's a whole nother story. That's the thing, you have no conscience. But yeah, that's why I say waste man. Waste man, don't attach yourself to waste man. But yeah, I just feel like, yeah, so you have to allow them to get to their own realization, because yeah, that's when they realize they can move. Like, that's when they have to say, and I guess sit down, face the truth, all the other points, face the truth, realize, see all the sides, and say, well, I don't want this, and I'm about to move on, you know. And sometimes we take it too far. Like, they got married and everything, and unfortunately she did not have a child. Fortunately, because for me that would then even be a more permanent reminder of the mistake, of this 14-year mistake, you know, or 14-year journey. Let's not say mistake, because we learn from our journeys, but sometimes we need to learn quick, because we don't want, you know, a 40-day journey to turn to 40 years, which I feel like for her is what happened. That journey just turned to 14 years, and it didn't have to, you know. I just wish that she shook the dude off. Like, okay, maybe second time, third time. Okay, third time is even queasy, but when you know that there's this permanent girl in the picture, Mama, duck out, leave. What's the point? Like, do you even want to stand there competing with someone? Like, me, but we do crazy things when we say we are in love. Like, we do crazy things, and I've seen crazy things happen. Like, in conclusion, the book doesn't give me any surprises. It's just, we do crazy things when we are in love. So I can't even say it's her fault or his fault, but it's two people. It was the both of them. It was the both of them. And that's why I want us to learn. I want us to take, and I hope you will share your learning points. And I hope anyone that's in this situation, honestly, like, I hope you will take some of this on board, and you will take a hold of your life, and you will make something of it. And do not let no guy dictate what that is. Like, no waste guy. Like, no waste guy. No waste guy. Cut the waste guys out. Like, do not let them dictate your life, because it's not worth it. Like, it's not worth it. When you find out, bone of your bone, you know, like, you will enjoy your life. You two will enjoy together, and you will even think, like, by God's grace, you'll experience this. I think, wow, like, I really allowed someone to treat me like this when love is like this. It will be no comparison, like, no comparison. And I do hope she really does find herself, because it is the title, I think, is very perfect. It is the beginning of something new for her. It's a new stage. That's the end of the book review from On Becoming by Toke Makinwa. So that brings me to the end of my video. As I said, if you haven't already, this was just the first book of our book club journey. Make sure you're clicking subscribe so you can be updated with the next book that we are about to embark on, which will be for the month of January. And click subscribe. Visit our website, click the link, and join the group so you can join in with the discussion. As I said, we love to hear your opinion, because that could be the revelation we need, and I want you to share your so please share your opinions, leave your comments down below. We would love to hear from you. Book clubs is just part of our journey. We've got many more things to be showing on this channel, which we hope you will all get involved in. So make sure you click subscribe so you can be kept up to date. Thank you for watching. Bye.
I know the dengue, I know the post, my baby give
But
me
we talking bare. I ain't got that white stuff in my lips. And that's just nasty. To pray that we can take our learning points and actually do something with them. Take our learning points and assess our relationship. Take our learning points and maybe help another person. Take our learning points and make our relationships better, which is the aim of the book club. Better relationships, happy people. We will be